Good day, everybody. Sorry I'm a little late. It is currently, oh gosh, 6:14. I'm about 4 minutes late. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought number 1636. Today is Wednesday, and I want to do a Words and Wisdom Wednesday. Mary's Words and Wisdom. Today, I had been studying the women of color in the United States as an ethnic studies course at UC Berkeley in 1996. I think it was 1996, so that's 29 years ago. And I also studied a ethnic and social stratification course many years before that. And I want to talk about some words here that I've put up, and they're all isms. They're all isms, and I want to talk about why we have isms, because they don't go away. And the reason they don't go away is that we have reasons for them. And the reasons for them, for example, I'll just jump right into it. It's that ageism is a way to respect older people, respect their wisdom, and try to put order in a hierarchy of behavior when we're working on any project, like in the sandbox, or on a tricycle, or in the kindergarten, or at work, or in the corporation. The advantage of ageism is that we would respect the wisdom. Next, I want to go into the advantages of sexism. Sexism is a way to respect one gender over the other, and it is to recognize the strengths and abilities of that gender. And then I have the word Catholicism. It could be any religion or any what's the word for it? I want to say pact. I want to say pact. Any faction, um, factionalism, I suppose, factionism. Catholicism is that we want to have morality, and we love morality. We love morality, and we feel that people who have higher morality are more upstanding. Then we have classism. Classism. Why do we have classism? We have classism because we know that there aren't enough resources to go around, but people who are in the upper classes can be choosy about what they have and what they can use. They use the better things. They have the better things, the more expensive shampoo, etc. Classism. That yes, classism is related to good shampoo. Can you believe that? Classism is where I get to sit in first class and you get to sit in executive class and this person gets to sit in coach. That's classism. Now, racism. Why do we have racism? Racism is because we have distinction between certain ethnic groups. The word racism was coined by somebody who actually wanted to put Native First Nations natives into a different category of almost not being human. So racism really has to do with different species, as if they were species, a different species. But racism, we turn that into ethnocentrism. So we want distinction, we want pride, we want a bit of knowing what's familiar in our ethnic group. My ethnic group has yellow skin. I'm familiar with my yellow skin. I'm proud of my yellow skin because it keeps the sun away. I mean, it doesn't keep the sun away. It just it doesn't burn as much as a person with lighter skin. In fact, it shows bruises, and it shows bruises because that way I get an indication of where I've got a bruise, whereas a person with darker skin doesn't get to see their bruises sometimes. So that yes, everybody bruises. Don't say you don't bruise when you have dark skin. That's racism. Nationalism is a form of pride in accomplishment of what the nation has done in the order it has received all of its um, construction. Now, fascism is defined as an authoritarian right wing um, set of beliefs. Um, Ordinarily, fascism had to do with traditional free markets, wanting traditional free markets, limited government. This would be right wing authoritarianism. Fascism is a right wing form of authoritarianism. And why do we have authoritarianism? Because the best organization is one that's run by one benevolent leader. When we have one benevolent leader, the organization runs smoothly. That's the truth. And then we have prejudice. Why do we have prejudice? Prejudice is the sense of security of holding on to some kind of knowledge before walking onto a scene when you know nothing. You just have to have some, okay, well, I'm going to go there and direct traffic. I'm going to assume that traffic comes from four directions. I'm going to, that's prejudice. That's a form of prejudice. Prejudice. Prejudico means judgment beforehand. Beforehand. Now, what are the disadvantages to having all these things? Now, this is Ying's Words and Wisdom Wednesday. I'm doing Mary's Words and Wisdom because this is what I learned when my name was Mary. This was when I was studying at UC Berkeley. And I want to read some of the Tao and some of the Book of Virtues as well. Number 53 of Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching. In the Tao Te Ching, get the number 53. The great way is easy, yet people prefer the side paths. Be aware when things are out of balance. Stay centered within the Tao. When rich speculators prosper, while farmers lose their land, when government officials spend money on weapons instead of cures, when the upper class is extravagant and irresponsible while the poor have nowhere to turn, all this is robbery and chaos. It is not in keeping with the Tao. Mic drop. Boom. Now, he said this 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago. All right. Okay. Now I want to go into the disadvantages of having all of these things, which you can already tell it's going to be okay. We've got, with ageism, you get exclusion of people who are older and they don't have a way out because they only get older and older. With sexism, you get slavery of people who are weaker and they don't get to change anything because they are always forever the weaker, or they are always forever the less verbal. Yeah, we have lots of this kind of prejudice. And for Catholicism or religion, we get disdain of somebody outside of the religion. Now, with classism, when we can be choosy with things, we get people with deprivation. And deprivation means that you don't get, you don't receive, you don't have. Now, with racism, we saw the obvious, which was slavery. Nationalism, guess what? We would have war. With fascism, even though we would have a traditionally free market and limited government, we would wind up with deprivation and exploitation. With authoritarianism, although we would have had if we had had a good leader, things could have run smoothly. A bad leader would make everything careen out of control. With ethnocentrism, Even though we want to have some pride in what's familiar, we would have disdain and judgment for somebody else with prejudice, where knowing nothingness becomes who is in charge and control. That is no good. And I want to say that we have all these reasons not to have these isms, but keep in mind what we want is to continue to do the good things. We want to continue to respect the age of wisdom, the wisdom of age. We want to continue to respect the genders for accomplishing things and the the divisions of labor between males and females over the eons. We want to have morality from the Catholicism. We want to have the morality. We want to be moral. Every religion has a purpose of being moral. My grandfather came up with that one. He read 5 different religious texts beginning to end, including Arabic for the Quran, and that is a big book. Jesus, it's here. This book I use as a as a book stand right now. Um, Classism continue to be choosy and continue to know which shampoo is better. Okay, with racism, well, we can have the distinction between us if we want to. We can even have nationalism. We can have pride in our accomplishments as a nation, but we have to watch out not to go slipping into the negative side of that. I've been talking about all the positive sides and the negative sides of all these words: ageism, sexism, Catholicism, classism, racism, nationalism, fascism, authoritarianism, ethnocentrism, and prejudice. What we have is things that stick around because we want them. Why do we want them? Because we want to respect wisdom. We want to respect the genders for all the things that they do. We want to have the morality. We want to be choosy about our products. We want to have a distinction between who we are and what we look like. We want to know that we have accomplished a lot as a nation. We want to have traditionally free markets. We want to have sort of limited government. We want to have a good authoritarian leader if we can help it, but we cannot afford to careen out of control with bad leaders and with prejudice. Prejudice is when you have the sense of knowing something before you walk into a situation you know nothing about. But knowing nothing, being in charge, is extremely dangerous. So I want to read from the Book of Virtues according to a metaphor of what we can do. Here is the perfect dinner table. William J. Bennett compiled the Book of Virtues by Simon and Schuster, and this is a section on responsibility. I was going to read this in January. I don't know if I did. But Edgar Guest wrote a poem called The Perfect Dinner Table, and William J. Bennett introduces it this way. He says, "This poem is about a time of day families need to spend together. The dinner hour should be more than eating. It should be about teaching, listening, and loving. A tablecloth that's slightly soiled, where greasy little hands have toiled, the napkins kept in silver rings, and only ordinary things from which to eat a simple fare, and just the wife and kiddies there, and while I serve, the clatter glad of little girl and little lad, who have so very much to say about the happenings of the day. 4 big round eyes that dance with glee, forever flashing joys at me. 2 little tongues that race and run to tell of troubles and of fun. The mother with a patient smile, who knows that she must wait a while before she'll get a chance to say that what she's discovered through the day. She steps aside for girl and lad who have so much to tell their dad. Our manners may not be the best, perhaps our elbows often rest upon the table, And at times, that very worst of dinner crimes, that very shameful act and rude of speaking ere you've downed your food, too frequently, I fear is done, so fast the little voices run. Yet why should table manners stay those tongues that have so much to say? At many a table I have been where wealth and luxury were seen, and I have dined in halls of pride where all the guests were dignified. But when it comes to pleasure rare, the perfect dinner tables where no stranger's face is ever known, the dinner hour we spend alone, when little girl and little lad run riot telling things to dad. That's when you have an orderly family. And that's a pride of, wow, that's a divorcee. There you go again with a pride of being married and then becoming prejudiced against somebody who is not married anymore. But we need to withhold our disdain. We need to prevent exclusion. We need to abolish slavery. We want to abhor deprivation. We want to avoid war at all costs. We want to not deprive and exploit anybody. And we want to stay in control. And we also need to know what we need to know. Wow, that was really poetic, wasn't it? This is Mary's Words and Wisdom Wednesday in Morsels of a Thought number 1636. And I'm going to read you this. I'm going to give you an example of how people are prejudiced when they're growing up. I spoke Chinese when I was growing up. I spoke Chinese when I was a child. I didn't speak a word of English until I got to the kindergarten. Kindergarten is a German word. Kinder means children, garden means garden. Children's garden. Kindergarten became before first grade. As I learned Chinese and as I learned English, I began to speak Chinese with an American accent. And I started to say I wanted to do something in Chinese and then I would finish it off in English. So my sentences were half in English and half in Chinese, not deliberately. Only when I was trying to speak to my parents in Chinese, I found that a lot of English got mixed in there. And people used to be a little upset when even Spanish speakers and other language speakers would be upset when people would speak that way and say, what is that? Is that a cliquish thing? Well, no, it just happens to be that that's what they know. So don't disdain them. We want to avoid slavery at all costs, but actually we still have slavery. It is slavery in the world is in the form of all the big Costco's in China. In the big Costco's in China, uh, when I was there 20 years ago, I was told that they had to have an indentured. It was like an indentured servitude. They had to have a contract where they paid out so much money per year to the landlord, and they didn't break a profit for years and years and years. And we have that in America too with the free market. Starting a business, you may not break even, but at least it's not institutionalized like that. And that's like indentured servitude, which is a form of slavery. We still have slavery in China too. There are people who work for somebody, and there are laws there that do not protect the younger, the older, they don't protect people. So somebody could say, I was actually advised to hire somebody from China since I speak Chinese. And I was advised to go to China and import somebody, give them a visa, create my company, issue them a visa, or have applied to issue them a visa, and then hold on to their papers, keep them locked in the safe so they couldn't go find employment elsewhere, keep their ID. This is the morality that I found when I was visiting another country. And I have to say, out of 21 countries that I have visited, the worst thing I ever saw and the best thing I ever saw were from the same country. I saw I saw some very, very good things, and I saw some very, very bad things from the same country. I'm going to read you the same poem again because I want to instill the value of this responsibility and imagine that you have this order. And, I just don't know what else to do right now. I want us to get back into the Tao and to let's just freaking forget this dinner table thing. Let's get to the Tao again. Okay? I want to see this. Whoever is planted in the Tao will not be rooted up. Whoever embraces the Tao, this is Lao Tzu, will not slip away. Her name will be held in honor from generation to generation. Let the Tao be present in your life, and you will become genuine. Let it be present in your family, and your family will flourish. Let it be present in your country, and your country will be an example to all countries in the world. Let it be present in the universe, and the universe will sing. How do I know this is true? By looking inside myself. One more. Know the male, yet keep to the female. Receive the world in your arms. If you receive the world, the Tao will never leave you, and you will be like a little child. Know the white, yet keep to the black. Be a pattern for the world. If you are a pattern for the world, the Tao will be strong inside you, and there will be nothing you can't do. Know the personal, yet keep to the impersonal. Accept the world as it is. If you accept the world, the Tao will be luminous inside you, and you will return to your primal self. The world is formed from the void, like utensils from a block of wood. The master knows the utensils. It keeps to the block. Thus, she can use all things. What it means is have your opinions, but keep back so that other people can have their opinions too. And you can live and let live. This way, we don't have somebody from like the Seventh day Adventists who are long lived, I heard. Long lived, I heard. And nobody will say, oh, I disdain somebody from outside my religion. Or somebody who's wealthy will not say, okay, I'm going to withhold this thing from you. Okay, so today in the real news outside, they're talking about a bill that may or may not pass through the Congress that's going to take money away from 16 or 18 million people and give the tax breaks to the corporations and the rich. And so we've got messiness in the Tao right now. It's not the Tao right now. So let's abolish slavery and let's be conscious and let us completely walk over the borders that we have. Make the bridges between borders work for us. And talk to somebody who's of a different religion. Talk to somebody who is a different economic class. Talk to somebody of a different race. Talk to somebody that's a different age. Talk to somebody in the other genders. Talk to somebody who is a leader or not a leader. And be a leader, a good leader. Okay? Talk to you later, old kinderhead.